I got the lyric. It said, "I'd change my life tonight if Donald Trump reduced my sentence." He not only reduced his sentence, he pardoned you.
All that good.
It's never been done before.
Yeah, how did that happen? Like, you in the cell and they just said...
He Gemini game. He a Gemini, like, his birthday 3 days after my... And I wear, like, he be vibing out here, too.
What?
Trump is a Gemini?
I didn't know that. Hey.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini.
Are you Gemini when you're...
28th. May 28th.
May. Okay, my 6'11", yeah. My 6'11", Trump 6'14". Ain't even nothing to think about. That's an M.
One song.
Man.
For 16.
And like, what the fuck? Oh, man, I understand the value of $1.
Right.
Yeah, $100 still $100. A band still a band. $1 million fucking dollars, bro, to do a song with a nigga who, like, I don't even know the niggas he told on.
We're in on it.
And I ain't even from over there. Niggas some shit like, nigga, that's y'all rap. Like, I know only nigga squeeze this nigga out some cheese, homie. Yeah. I know some shit like, y'all ain't finna do nothing. Y'all ain't even squeeze a nigga out some money.
Kodak, do you believe that our moon landing in 1969 actually took place?
What the fuck y'all talking about?
You seem upset that I brought it up.
I feel like sometimes when niggas like be going through shit, like y'all be entertained by bullshit. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, change the subject, I'm finna walk out.
We'll change which subject?
Just whatever, like.
Well, no, they tried to change the subject. They was talking about the moon landing.
That's bullshit too. So talk about something else.
Well, I was saying, I think...
We don't have to talk about nothing else. We could be done right here.
All right, I'm going. Say less.
I don't know. People don't tell me what to talk about on my show. Huh?
Hey, we got suspicions on the internet. People saying Boosie cousin robbed or tried to rob and killed Duke the Jeweler, who was from Chicago. Me, I don't know. I'm saying, I ain't with that shit. I ain't the police, nothing like that. But shit, what y'all think? Y'all think it's true? Y'all think they just pushing? Y'all think cause it's Boosie, they like, fuck it, we just gonna put it on him. He known for shit like that. You let me know.
What if the biggest threat to a rapper's career isn't an op, but an OG who won't stop talking? In February 2026, a viral clip hit the timeline showing Kodak Black on stage in Texas, looking completely out of it. Security had to hold him up. Reports claimed he showed up nearly 9 hours late. Within minutes, the internet was doing what it does best: clipping, zooming, speculating. But the loudest voice in the room wasn't a blogger, it was Boosie Badaz. Boosie jumped in with 5 words that reignited a 3-year war. He need help. That could have been concern. It could have been love. But to Kodak, it was something else entirely, because Yak didn't just brush it off. He got on camera and accused Boosie of snitching. Not paperwork snitching, not courtroom testimony, internet snitching. And that one word shifted everything. Hey, Kodak wasn't saying Boosie talked to the feds. He was saying Boosie keeps putting his personal struggles on blast for clicks. In Yak's world, airing out another man's issues publicly is its own kind of betrayal, especially when that man once played mentor. But this wasn't new tension. This was just the latest explosion in a story that started with respect. Before the diss tracks, before the all-caps posts, before the word snitch started flying around. There was a real OG young bull dynamic between them. Boosie had praised Kodak's raw talent in interviews, said he had that natural gift you can't teach. At one point, he even claimed he pulled Kodak aside and warned him to get out of Florida, said the environment around him was toxic. It sounded like guidance, like an older head trying to save a younger one from the same traps. And Kodak acknowledged that. In his own lyrics, he admitted he used to look up to Boosie. That line would later turn into a weapon, because everything changed in 2023. That summer, Kodak linked up with Tekashi 6ix9ine on Shaka Laka. And in hip-hop culture, 6ix9ine's reputation was radioactive. After cooperating in his federal case, most of the industry treated him like he didn't exist. Boosie didn't stay quiet. He went scorched earth. He blasted Kodak publicly, questioning how any rapper with street credibility could justify working with someone labeled a cooperator. For Boosie, this wasn't business. It was code, and in his mind, Kodak had violated it. But Kodak didn't fold. He fired back, reposted clips calling Boosie a clown, and framed the criticism as an older rapper trying to stay relevant by policing the younger generation. Yet that's when the dynamic flipped. It stopped being mentorship. It became ego. By August 2023, Boosie took it to wax with a diss track titled Ungrateful. He accused Kodak of tarnishing his own reputation and disrespecting the culture. Kodak clapped back. Then came accusations about jacking sounds and sampling without respect. Now money was involved, pride was involved, and neither side was backing down. But underneath the music smoke, there was something deeper driving Boosie's frustration. Substances. Kodak's legal troubles and arrests became headline material. At one point, reports circulated that he had fallen asleep in his car and allegedly had drugs in his mouth when police approached. The story exploded online. Boosie reacted publicly. At first, he laughed at how wild it sounded. And then he stopped himself mid-sentence and said he doesn't laugh at another man's troubles. That tension, half joke, half concern, became the pattern. Then Kodak went on Instagram and denied doing cocaine, only to casually admit he used meth and perks instead. The internet didn't know whether to be confused or concerned. Boosie said he recognized the signs. He referenced Kodak's appearance in interviews, mentioned shiny skin, said he'd seen that look before. Then he admitted something personal. He said he'd struggled with PCP in his own past, said he knew what spiraling looked like because he'd lived it. Now the narrative got complicated. Was Boosie exposing Kodak? Or was he seeing his younger self in real time? Kodak didn't see empathy. He saw disrespect. And by 2025, the beef evolved again, this time with another explosive name attached. Rumors had been swirling around Young Thug during his RICO case. The internet debated whether he had cooperated. The culture split down the middle. Kodak stepped forward and asked one pointed question. Why is Boosie silent? That wasn't random. That was strategic. Boosie built his brand on keeping it real, speaking on everything, calling out everyone. So when a massive controversy hit and he stayed quiet, Kodak implied it was selective. In other words, you're loud when it's me, but quiet when it's risky. Boosie responded with a lengthy post, dismissed Kodak's comments as emotional leftovers from the 6ix9ine era, said he speaks when he wants to speak, and made one bold claim that Kodak had checked protective custody while locked up. In their world, that's a devastating accusation. Whether true or not, once that label gets attached, it sticks. Now both sides were throwing the heaviest words possible: snitch, PC, addict, clout chaser. The beef wasn't about music anymore, it was about credibility. Then January 2026 happened. Kodak dropped a diss track titled Christmas Eve. No subliminals, direct shots at Boosie. One line stood out: I used to look up to Boosie. It wasn't admiration anymore, it was ammunition. But the real controversy wasn't just the lyrics, it was the timing. The track dropped just 2 days before Boosie Badazz was scheduled to face federal sentencing on gun charges. To Boosie, that timing wasn't random, it wasn't bad luck, it felt surgical. In his eyes, Kodak Black didn't just release a diss, he pressed a psychological button at the worst possible moment. More court looming, pressure building, freedom on the line. And right then, a record full of direct shots hits the internet. Boosie took it as a deliberate attempt to rattle him before walking into a courtroom. He didn't wait. The very next day, he jumped on X in all caps, the digital version of yelling across the block. He called Kodak a clout-chasing crackhead, said the record wasn't about real smoke, it was about attention, claimed Kodak's career had been sliding downhill for years, and that mentioning his name was the only way Yak could trend. That response only poured gasoline on a fire that had already been burning for 3 years. The internet split instantly. One side said Boosie was justified. They saw an OG who felt disrespected at a critical moment in his life. To them, Kodak's timing looked petty at best and malicious at worst. And they argued Boosie had every right to defend himself, especially when legal pressure was already heavy. The other side saw something different. They saw fixation. They saw an older rapper constantly commenting on a younger artist's personal life, mistakes, and struggles. They questioned whether this was really about respect or about staying in the conversation, because every time Kodak trended, Boosie's name wasn't far behind. Then February hit. Texas, that viral clip. Kodak on stage appearing disoriented. Security steadying him. The footage spread fast. Once again, before the blogs could even finish posting, Boosie typed his now familiar stance. He need help. 5 words. Kodak's response was just as sharp: "Stop snitching on me." And that's where this conflict stops being about music entirely. Because now the debate isn't about diss tracks or streaming numbers, it's about boundaries. When does public concern cross the line into public humiliation? Boosie insists he's sounding an alarm nobody else around Kodak is brave enough to ring. In his mind, staying silent while watching someone spiral would make him fake. He believes speaking up, even loudly, is real. He frames it as tough love, hard truth, accountability in a culture that often protects self-destruction until it's too late. But Kodak sees exposure, not empathy. From his perspective, Boosie isn't helping behind closed doors. He's broadcasting every stumble to millions. Every interview mention, every social media comment, every reaction clip turns into another wave of memes and mockery. In today's culture, perception becomes reality in seconds. And once the narrative sticks, it's hard to shake. So now the question hangs heavier than any diss lyric. Is Boosie trying to save a life? Or is he contributing to the spectacle? What started with a controversial collaboration has evolved into something layered and personal. Addiction allegations, loyalty debates, generational ego, street code, jealousy claims, and the fragile line between accountability and exploitation. One man says he's protecting the culture. The other says he's protecting his peace. Neither is backing down. And that's why this doesn't feel like just another rap beef. It feels like a clash over who controls the narrative and who gets to define what real actually means. Because at its core, this isn't about who had the better diss track. It's about what you owe someone who once looked up to you. It's about whether calling someone out publicly is love or leverage. As of now, there's no resolution, no sit down, no handshake moment, just interviews, tracks, and timelines choosing sides. And the story is still unfolding. So the question isn't who won, it's who crossed the line first. Was Boosie out of pocket for speaking on Kodak's struggles in public? Or was Kodak deflecting because the truth hit too close? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want more deep dives that go beyond surface headlines and unpack what's really happening behind these hip-hop clashes, hit subscribe. Because in this culture, the diss might trend for a week, but the story behind it, that's what really lasts.